Hello, besties, and welcome to yet another episode of Limitless with Nadia. Today we have a repeat guest.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I missed you.
I missed you. It's been a long time.
I know. So quick for you to get me to come back.
I mean, seriously, you guys, full transparency, Amara and I recorded an episode for you guys this morning. And we had to hit the studio yet again to run it back because we realized we had some more yapping to do.
Never too much yapping. And you really matched me on the yapping. Just when I thought we didn't get enough, we have some more.
We have some more.
We do.
And for the context, we figured this would be a really great episode to talk about the girl's breakup guide, or a breakup guide for any girl listening to this that has struggled with breakups, that maybe is struggling with a breakup, that's just struggling in the love department in general. I feel like that's a very tricky part of your life to navigate as a human, but as a woman especially.
And a huge part of your life.
Yes.
And I feel like it really, really takes you from girlhood to womanhood when you learn how to navigate those things.
Yeah.
Like that's definitely what's grown me up.
Totally.
Big time is this kind of stuff.
You do a lot of, it's the pain, I think, that really shapes you and what you do with it. And there was something I was going to say, I think, well, actually, I want to ask you something. What do you feel like was your worst heartbreak and how did it shape you?
Oh my God. I guess the worst, it's so weird. It's very weird because my first heartbreak, I wasn't necessarily like madly in love with him like I was my second heartbreak.
Okay.
But the first heartbreak hurt so much more because it was the first, because it was this whole new set of emotions I had never really cognitively experienced. I guess I got glimpses of them as during childhood with like heartbreak through my parents' divorce and stuff, but never like was fully aware enough. And I remember I literally felt like I was going to die. Like it sounds so dramatic, but your heart literally is breaking. And I guess going through that first one, I remember my mom, I came to her, I was like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I can't even breathe. My heart is like contracting. And I was binge watching all these how to get over a breakup and all this stuff. And I was like 16, 17. And my mom came to me and she really explained some of the abandonment issues I have from when I was younger that I couldn't really remember. And it opened my eyes up to a part of me that really needs that healing. Hence the kind of feeling of like, when you care about someone so much and they've been taken away from you, that kind of feeling of abandonment goes crazy, you know? It drove me crazy. So it really helped me become aware of, okay, that might be my biggest trigger in life, and that's something I really need to work through. And fast forward to the next breakup, and then the next breakup. Slowly, I've been able to navigate them a lot better. It doesn't take away from the pain, but it opens your eyes up to the parts of you really have to do the deep work, you know? It's like even rejection, all these things, it just highlights a part of you that you need to work on. So at the end of the day, you just have to say thank you. You know, you have to say thank you.
For the experience.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, because I think something a lot of people maybe don't really realize is obviously pain is so difficult in the moment when you're feeling it, right? It's like, oh my gosh, like you said, my heart literally feels like it's breaking
the worst
inside of my chest. And in the moment, it feels like it's the worst thing in the world. But it's actually, like you said, pain is just waking you up to the parts of you that are still like wounded. They're still kind of holding on to stuff. So what do you feel like for you, when you think about how you used to handle breakups versus how you handle them now, like what has been the biggest shift that's made it easier for you to move through it?
Probably logic. Probably logic, which has never come naturally to me.
Well, women are emotional.
Women are emotional. Some women are naturally a bit more logical. I have like one of my best friends is super logically inclined, and that's why I appreciate her so, well, not why, but one of the reasons why I appreciate her so much, because I need that. Because I'm super emotional. But sometimes being able to see things for what they are, not how they make you feel, is really helpful. Because I was always looking at things for how they make me feel. And sometimes it's like things are just the way they are and they don't need to make you feel all the colors in the rainbow. Sometimes things are black and white, you know? And I think when you're very emotional, it's hard to have that clean cut look at things. And I'm all for feeling everything. I always give myself a grace period. Feel, cry, rot, don't get out of bed, but come that next Friday, you're up, you're moving.
Yep.
And you'll naturally want to anyways, because you'll have when you really feel something through, you'll wake up and be like, okay, now it's time to just start fresh and get a move on.
Yeah.
But yeah, logically speaking, sometimes it's easy to just be like, this happened for a reason. A plus B equals C. Get up and keep it going.
Totally. I think that's for, like you said, when you're transitioning from girlhood to womanhood.
Yeah.
Your breakups give you what you need to be able to do that. And I think I would honestly say the same for myself, is like, the biggest difference is really learning how to feel your feelings, but not make decisions with your feelings. There's such a big difference there.
Huge.
What you feel is valid, but not to the point where you have to act on it. Like, you can give the dust some time to settle, and then the logic will come more naturally. Like, it's hard to be logical when you're in the midst of an emotional reaction.
For sure.
It's just not as easy.
But that's why being responsible, which we touched on a little earlier, being responsible and accountable for your feelings and your reactions is so key, because taking responsibility and saying, okay, I'm not gonna allow this person to make me feel this way, or I'm not gonna act irrational because of my emotions. I'm gonna sit with this.
And I'm responsible for my emotions.
I'm responsible. That saves you so much. And this is probably one thing that it's so funny. When I was younger, I almost shamed myself for it. The kind of, I was always so nice and calm with things. I've never cussed a person out, never lost my shit, never screamed, sworn at a person. I've always just removed myself from a situation. And in the moment at times, I'm like, oh, I wish I could just scream and shout and wave my hands in the air and swear at a person. And that's always in the moment. But looking back at every single thing, I'm like, thank God I never did that. Thank God I stayed true to my character. Thank God I didn't let myself down.
Totally.
Because as soon as you scream, you've lost.
You've lost. You've already lost.
You've lost. You know what I mean? And I just think like there's so much beauty in remaining calm and classy and graceful. There's a lot more power in that, actually, than losing your shit and cussing a person out. And I think that's something I had to learn, because I was always like, Amara, why am I so nice? You can be nice and you can have boundaries, you know, but still be nice. You can set your line there and still do it with love. You can say goodbye with love. You can end something with love. You don't have to do everything like so
intensely and with negativity
and with
in it,
aggression and cutting off and ghosting and like, fuck you, don't ever speak to me again. It's like you just leave a bitter taste in everyone's mouth.
And I think it's interesting because it's easier to cuss them out. It's easier to say, fuck you, I'm done with you. And you know, it's actually harder to choose the graceful path of just like, I'm gonna be mature, I'm gonna feel what I need to feel, but I'm not gonna spew it out. Because that's usually like the knee-jerk reaction, right? Like you feel something, you just wanna push it out onto somebody else. And I think it's also an interesting thing where, like, the biggest difference between somebody that heals from heartbreak and somebody that stays stuck on it is they take the accountability for how they feel. Instead of saying, you made me feel this way, you did this to me, you, it's like, no, actually, you have done something. I am feeling a certain way because of it. And now I get to decide whether or not this is aligned for me or not. But if you're putting the power in their hands, you don't get the opportunity now to choose what you want and how you want to move. It's like, now it's like the ball is in their court all the time. And then you're just in a constant state of reaction.
It's such a big, it's not easy. Like, because we're talking about it as if it's easy. It's really, really not easy. When you care about a person deeply, it's so hard to not let their actions affect you because you take it personally. You know, because if you really cared about me, you wouldn't do that. But a lot of the times, this is something I've said all the time in my TikToks. It's like one of my one-liners I love to pull out. It's like, people can only meet you as far as they've met themselves. So a lot of the times you have to realize, like, no matter how compatible, no matter how many things you have in common, no matter if you're one and the same and all these kinds of things, you will never meet a person that handles things the way you do. So there will always be a level of someone will affect you, but it's what you choose to do with that feeling and how you choose to react to it. That's like really key, and what you learn going through breakups. It's something you just learn to navigate over time with what feels right for you, you know?
Totally. This is all resonating so much because I have experienced this exact situation like not too long ago. And it is really difficult sometimes to not personalize what somebody is doing and being, like you said, being like, well, if you really cared about me, you wouldn't do this. But it's also like, you know, that's where the compassion can come in handy, because you are recognizing that this person does have certain limitations. And it's like, I think interesting because we are obviously watching this show, Cheaters, Unfinished Business. It's on Netflix. If you're watching
we are
this,
having an absolute roller coaster of a time watching this show.
oh my God, it's so good. You need to watch this after you finish watching this episode because it is so interesting being able to look at breakups from the viewer's perspective and like watching them work through it.
Forms.
It's so many different types. And it's like, now, as we're talking about this, I'm just thinking about all those different couples. And it's like, you know, something that keeps coming up in that is like, there are a lot of situations where these couples so desperately want to be together and you can see that they really want to be together. The desire is there and it's strong, but they're not necessarily capable yet of being able to be together in a way that's healthy and mature.
They're so stuck in their own ways. That's the thing. Like, I really feel like people are so good at talking, but not good at listening.
That's
you
a
know
huge
what I mean?
one, yes.
And they're all talking. They're not listening, you know? And I think like when someone is so rooted in their patterns, it's very hard to step out of yourself and be like, how am I supposed to actually change and compromise here?
Yeah.
You know? And like, that's just the most interesting thing. You can see people that have so much potential, but they're literally in their own way because they just won't like shut up and listen.
Yes,
you know?
it's almost like when you're watching it, it's like some people it's them and themselves, not you and them. Like they're battling their inner demons. They clearly have a lot of stuff going on, and it's like that's a telltale sign. You know, when you're talking to somebody and you keep having the same issues over and over, and it feels like they're not really hearing you. That's probably because they're stuck in their own patterns, and they can't hear you because it's them versus themselves.
For sure.
And it's like so obvious. It's like when somebody is listening to you and it's like they're able to step outside of themselves and really be able to see your perspective, you do feel heard. And it is something that feels constructive, but it's like if you're listening to this and you're in a relationship with somebody where it's like every time you're having a conversation, you're hitting the same walls because they're just not seeing it, I would honestly take that as a sign as they haven't been able to step outside of themselves yet. They're still working through stuff. And it's like, that's where you can't take it personally. You know, like we're talking about, okay, when he does this or when somebody does something to me, like, how could they? But it's like, they're doing this to everybody in their life probably. It has nothing to do with you. They've probably done it to all of their exes too. And it's like, it's just them repeating a pattern that has nothing to do with you.
Well, it's interesting because they always say when you point a finger, you have
3.
Yeah, 3. I don't know what the thumb's doing, but you have 3 pointing back at you.
Yes.
And this is something I've always said to my friends because I do have a lot of experience in a relationship and I've really navigated X, Y, Z. And one of the biggest things I learned is a lot of the times you'll have these arguments and it will literally be like you guys pointing fingers at each other and never
taking accountability
or the two of you focusing on the problem. It's always like, it's your fault, it's my fault, it's pointing fingers at each other, but never you two working as a team to solve the actual problem.
Yeah.
And I think it goes back to what you were saying. It's like you versus you, they're all like mirroring. It's never like, when can we actually work as a team?
Yeah.
And what is the recurring problem? Where is that stemming from? And how do we work together to fix it?
So true.
So true.
Like, you know, when something's so true that you're like it's just like,
Yeah,
you know, Stop.
It's the poo-poo face.
That's the poo-poo face. That's so true. I literally am making the facial expression. Period. So true. Oh shit, I forgot what I was gonna say now.
Sorry, it's my
The
fault.
Scottish accent that just pops out kills me.
It's because we're getting sleepy now, so we're gonna get
a
stupid.
little bit delirious, so excuse me if we start getting a bit crazy. But we were saying, what was the last thing that you said? There was a phrase.
So good is what we said.
Oh shit. Okay, well there was something else then.
About you pointing fingers, working as a team.
Oh, it's you. Yes, that's what it was. It's supposed to be you two versus the problem, not you two versus each other. I think that's the biggest thing. Like on this show, you see people butting heads all the time. And it's like, well, that one guy was like, well, I haven't been talking about any of the stuff that you've been doing wrong. But it's like, you're saying that because she pointed out that something you did wrong.
Yeah,
like, how are we making this like a
childish.
tit for tat? Like, again, if a guy, like that's the number one red flag to me is a guy that like.
I hate tit for tat. And
yeah,
I hate
the tit for tat stuff kills me. I just really can't.
Not even red flag with a guy, red flag with anyone.
Period.
Anyone,
period. Like just across, no, literally, period. You guys, that's been our stimmy word for the whole time that she's been here. Like we just
Period.
probably like 6,000 times today
No,
we've
because
said the
I
word
told
period.
you, I was saying it back in London. I didn't realize you guys were
Like me and
busting
all
out
my
like that
friends
here.
Yeah,
in
we're
the
all
States.
just period. Like one of us says period, and it's like period. Like all of us are just
Period.
echoing.
But it's only for the girlies. I never do this with the guys, but
no,
with
the
girls,
guys don't get that
period.
one.
Yeah.
Period.
Per.
Period pill. No, but there's something else too that we talked about earlier that I was like, oh my God, people need to hear this. And it's that like a woman knows when a man is not for her, and she knows it from the very beginning.
The body tells you everything you've got to know.
Like these
Yeah,
girls that are
it's
breaking
crazy.
out in hives or like crying
Cysts,
all the time.
hives, styes.
Yeah, like
acne.
yes,
Bad
everything,
bowel-
flare-ups,
bowel
UTI
movements,
stuff,
no
like,
period.
No, oh,
Period.
period. No periods come
no
through.
periods coming through. You are with the wrong man. It's as simple as that. Like your body will reject like the freaking yeast infections you will get.
Yes, it's so
And
crazy.
I'll go to the clinic to get tested. I've got nothing. My body does not like
Baby,
you.
he's the problem.
You are, this guy is the problem.
Literally.
My body is literally saying no, like you do not feel safe. Because sometimes your mind does so much, you know what I mean?
And that's like,
you
sometimes it makes sense, yeah.
Sometimes you fantasize, you see the potential. Your
Yes.
body will literally tell you no. That's why as a woman, it's so important to like do so many things to just keep yourself in tune with your body, and your body will tell you everything you've got
Literally.
to know.
Every single thing.
Period.
And I think it's funny because this is also one of those things that you go from girl to woman is you start recognizing that
Yeah.
there's no such, like your
And
body
it
is so
sucks.
sophisticated.
I'm not gonna lie, it sucks because sometimes like it's clear my body's gonna be rejecting, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, I really liked
Like,
you.
but I really like you. Like, stop rejecting him.
Oh man, and it's
but it
so
happens.
funny.
You can't force it. It happens.
And you know what? And it can come form in even the most, like I have reached a point where it's become so fine tuned.
Yeah.
Where it's like you get a text, like you were saying earlier, you get a text and you look at the text and you get like butterflies, but not the good kind. It's
No.
almost like anxiety.
It's horrible. And I've always, like, that's something I needed to learn. I always thought butterflies were such a healthy thing. There is the healthy butterflies, but then there is the also run away, run for your life butterflies. And when you're younger, I think you mistake the two.
You do.
You are not supposed to feel like your stomach's just done a backflip every time this guy texts you or before you're hanging out with him. Like, you're supposed to feel excited and safe.
But still calm.
Calm,
Like your
excited,
nervous system
safe.
doesn't feel dysregulated.
But you're not literally about to puke
Yes.
out of either end. It's
Yes.
just you can't do that.
Yeah, and I think once you start being able to read those signs, it gets so much easier to weed out the guys that are really not for you because you trust your body. Because think about it, like your body is so sophisticated. Like
sophisticated.
it is factoring in everything that your logical mind could not possibly comprehend. Like we were saying, like sometimes the guy makes sense on paper.
Yeah.
Sometimes everything logically makes sense. He's doing all the right things, but it's like your body is still not accepting it. It's like something still feels off. When you're able to move based on that and not need the logic to back it up,
No.
dating gets so much easier because you're not wasting your time on guys that, again, your body has told you is not for
But
you.
that's why it's interesting because us two will say we know it with it when it comes to a girl straight away.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
You say, you know, I know if this girl's for me or if she's not. I don't know why it's not so easy
I know why.
to believe that with guys.
Yes,
You know?
I have a theory on that.
Go on.
I think it's more difficult as a woman to trust your intuition when it comes to men, because with men, it's easier to get attached because with a romantic partner, there's only one of those that can really fill that slot. With friends or with other girls, it's like, it's easier to stay detached because it's
Yeah.
like, you know, I have a million spots, well, not a million, but I have like, you know, a certain number of spots in my life for
Yeah.
friends, but like a guy,
Yeah.
that's like your partner. And there's always this pressure around, is he the one? Is he not the one?
Yeah.
And so when you really like a guy and you really want it to work, you're more susceptible to like bypassing those red flags because you're like,
Yeah.
but I really want this to work, you know? But that's why I always say as well, detachment is the key to literally success in any format. The more you are insistent upon making something work, even if everything around you is saying no, the more you're delaying the thing that you actually want to come through. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no, for sure. Like when you want something so badly, you're just affirming you're in lack of the whole time. And this is something I have been applying to everything because even when you're so actively trying to become better at something and trying to improve something, and everything these days is promoting better, the next best thing, right?
Yep.
whenever you are trying, oh, sorry, I keep knocking. I've got beef with the mic.
That poor microphone's
I've got
probably
beef
so
with this
bruised.
mic.
You
I'm
keep
telling
beating
you.
its ass.
Yeah, well, it's in my face. It's going to mind its own business. Anyways, when you are actively trying to improve something so much, sometimes it trips me out because I'm like, where's the fine line between improving and then constantly affirming I'm in lack of? You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so just when you want something so bad, it's never healthy because you should never really need to have that. You should just work with intention.
Yes.
Allow it to come and know that hard work always pays off. The right thing's always coming.
Yes, that is a key mentality, but I just thought of something insane as you were saying that.
Yeah.
The concept of limerence, I'm sorry. The
Limerence.
concept, let me reset that. The concept of limerence is so fascinating to me.
Define limerence again, because I forgot it.
Yes, so limerence is when you become extremely obsessed with somebody to the point where it's like it's like a really intense crush. It's like an
what the stalkers
infatuation.
feel.
Yes, it's like, oh my God, this like person I can't, but it's like somebody that maybe you barely know or you don't really have
Creepy.
history with. But it's like, I heard this explanation one time and I was like, this just made everything click in my brain. When you obsess over somebody and you are very infatuated with them, limerence.
You're going to say you're already with them down the line or something.
No, actually.
I was like,
Unfortunately, that is
trying
not
to
the
feed you
direction I'm
back.
going. No, unfortunately, it's bad. It's bad news. Not really bad news, but basically it just means that that is somebody that represents a lot of your past patterns that you're trying to rewrite by obsessing over them. So it's like, this is again, somebody that represents something that you've already been through, right? Because maybe they're emotionally unavailable and you've generally gone for emotionally unavailable guys. And so you become obsessed with it because you think that you can rewrite the story of how it ended. And usually this has to do with like primary caregivers, right? Like maybe like abandonment issues. I know that's something that you and I both have, right? So it's like, if you become like obsessively infatuated with somebody that reminds you of that, it's because you're subconsciously wanting the story to end differently this time. So it's like, whoa, then I thought about all the times that I've been through limerence. And it's also a crush is just a lack of information. That also changed my life. But basically, anytime you are obsessed with somebody, that intense attachment is asking you to look at something a little deeper because it's just not healthy to be feeling that way about anyone.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Just insane.
Yeah.
And there was something else too that when you were talking earlier about like, you know, the thing that changed things for you when it comes to breakups and moving on in relationships is like being able to use logic and make decisions on logic. And I think something that's also helped me when I'm moving through my, you know, what's changed in terms of how I handle things now is like, I don't need to understand the why of like why somebody did what they did. It's like you were saying, the logic is like they did what they did.
Yeah.
And I don't need to understand the why. It just was what it was. And I just have to decide if that's aligned with me or not.
It's so tiring having to fill in the blanks and read between the lines, especially when dealing with men who half the time will not say half of what they feel, right?
Yes.
And you're sitting there thinking, okay, but maybe it's because of this, maybe it's because of that, maybe, and then you come up with these assumptions, these wild assumptions half the time.
Yes, you make a whole story.
You make a whole story, you assume something, you believe it's true, you start to question yourself. All this BS that is the biggest waste of time, like the amount of energy I've spent doing this.
Yes.
You get to a point where it's just not worth it. You do not have to understand. You do not need to fill in the blanks. All you can actually do is control you.
Yes.
What are you going to do in the next hour?
Yes.
How are you going to wake up tomorrow? And what are you going to do with your day? Are you going to go through his following, stalk all the people he's followed? Are you going to torture yourself? That's a big thing I learned.
Yes.
No, I'm being dead serious.
I agree.
Checking the snap score and stuff. I'm dead serious. The eyes have lit up. No, but this is a big thing I learned through breakups.
The eyes are killing me.
You can choose to do something that will help you, or you can choose to do something that will destroy you.
Yes,
Because we will get, it's like a drug, you know what I mean? You just
So
want to check the new
addictive.
girl he's followed. You want to stalk, you want to see her location, all these kinds of things. You know you are going to get hurt and you will probably find something you don't like. That's why I'm a huge advocate for not going through your boyfriend's phone. Because no matter how, you look hard enough, you'll
You'll find what
something
you're
you
looking
don't like.
for. Yep.
If something is supposed to come to you, it will fall right in your lap. It's happened to me multiple times.
Yes.
So it's like, do things that you know are going to better you, not hurt you. Because sometimes doing the thing that hurts you, like fills this kind of, it's like a drug, right?
Yes.
But that is a huge thing for the young girlies. Just don't even
Don't-
go down
don't
that
do it.
road.
Yeah.
Literally look out for yourself. Mute, You don't have to unfollow because sometimes it comes across as petty. Mute all the friends too. When I broke up with my ex, all his friends were muted. I did not want to see one picture of any guy, any kind of remembrance. Block it all out and move on.
Totally. I think that should be a concrete rule.
Concrete
For
rule.
any
That's why cold
breakup,
turkey is so important.
Cold turkey, no contact.
So important. It's so hard, but it's so important. And I had to learn that the hard way because I find a lot of reassurance knowing I can reach out to a person.
Because they're still there.
Because they're still there. Knowing that everything's on a good term. It's fine.
Yeah.
We're friends. It's all good. I can still reach out when I need to if I needed to, or if you want to check in. And a lot of the times you will check in thinking, oh, I just wanted to make sure you're okay.
It's innocent.
No, it's because you want a response.
Yeah.
And you want to know they're still in your life and they are still relevant. And that's the hard thing about no contact. You need to do it for yourself in order to move on. It sucks, but you should just know a relationship will always evolve, and there will come a time where you guys can be friends. You guys can have a civil conversation should you want to. But other than that, no contact.
Don't do it. Don't do it. No contact. This is actually so interesting too because, wait, you were saying, shit, I keep losing my train of thought. No contact. Oh, yes. So this is the thing. I think when you have a breakup, right, you're in a very emotionally vulnerable state. Because something really big just changed in your life. And it's like you have to grieve it, right? You have to give it its time.
Of course, it's
for
like
you
mourning.
to mourn. Yeah, you're mourning it. Like you're
it's
mourning.
like a person that's still around, and
they're alive, but they're just not in your life anymore.
Yeah, it's very hard, and getting used to the no morning text, the routine of texting and calling, getting used to not seeing their name on your phone.
Yeah,
very,
and not talking to them.
hard.
And
very
this is somebody
hard.
that like maybe you probably talk to them about
Every
a lot of your
day.
life. Like you're also grieving the version of yourself that you were when you were with them. You know, like there's
You
so
have
many
to let
things
go of
around
that
that,
as well.
and you have to let go of that. And I think people make the mistake at the very beginning of a breakup. And I think women do this especially, where it's like you do keep these little reminders because it means you don't actually have to say goodbye. You don't actually have to start the grieving process because they're still there. But it's like, that's why for me as well, I think what really helped me get over my last breakup was I implemented that rule for the first time in my life where I was like, as soon as I decided this relationship was over, I deleted all the pictures, which I know that's kind of like a extreme,
I would
but
never.
it's like I just can't. I mean, there's still
I've deleted chats. I've deleted numbers.
Chats, messages. I mean, low-key, the pictures are still in my Google Photos, but they're not in my regular camera roll. So, you know,
okay, baby steps.
I'm not fully cold-hearted in that way.
Yeah.
Like it was still a part of my life. Yeah, take it out.
If you don't mind.
F it. But yeah, like you really just have to, like for me, again, I just removed all of it and it made it so much easier because there wasn't a reminder of him everywhere. And I really did give myself the space to feel the grief of it so that I can move into the next chapter of my life without still feeling like I'm working through those pieces because that gets really exhausting too.
Of course. And it's hard because I mean, I've been there. I've done it a handful of times. You break up with your guy. You're out on the town. You're making out with every single guy on the block. It's normal, right? You're distracting yourself. You're suppressing.
Because you're in pain.
You're in pain. So you're just, I'm just going to be wild. And it makes you feel like, oh, I've still got it. Look at all these guys that want me.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like this
yeah.
guy would hate it if he knew. Like,
yes.
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 It gives you some
the satisfaction.
It gives you satisfaction. Like, yeah, I made out with all these guys. Like, what are you doing? I don't want to know what you're doing.
Don't tell me.
Don't tell me.
Keep it away.
But it is like you've got to have that experience. Everyone does, but really it is the wrong way to go. Like you have to suck it up, suffer, go through it, feel.
Yes.
And then in a month's time, 2 months' time,
it gets easier.
So wild because I'm a huge journaler. I journal all the time. And when I was going through like my last kind of heartbreak, it was so interesting to read back my days. Like every day there would be some kind of minor switch up in my mood, and then week by week it would be like the first day I feel like my heart is broken, I can't even get out of bed. A week later I feel like I have a bit more energy. Month later I got my spark back. And it's so interesting. Time really heals, you know.
It does. And that's
just
where you
takes
have
a bit
to
of time.
That's where you have to really like you have to be patient with it too and not need the instant gratification. Like that's the thing. I think your ability to grow is directly proportional with your ability to withstand discomfort. Like you have to be okay with doing the hard thing and being in pain while you're doing the hard thing and still knowing it's
sometimes
everything.
doing the right thing is doing the hard thing.
And I feel like when I look back at my journey, it's like I, for a long time, avoided doing the hard thing. And that caused me to stay stuck exactly where I was for so many years.
And it was temporary comfort.
Yeah, temporary comfort. And it's like when you start being like, no, you know what? I'm just going to do the hard thing. Even if I hate it, I'm dragging my feet the whole way. And I'm like, it's taking everything in me not to do the other thing. I'm still going to do it because also I think it correlates with self-respect.
Of course.
That's also everything.
Your self-respect has to be stronger than your feelings.
Yes. And I think that's another thing too. Like, I feel like
hard.
Men do that naturally. Men have, I feel like, an easier time.
Well, men are naturally more selfish, aren't they?
Yes.
So it's no shock.
No offense to the guys in the studio.
Room. No offense to the guys in the room. It's just how it is.
It's just the truth.
Men are naturally a bit more selfishly inclined, so they don't find it so hard putting themselves before others.
Yeah, and as women, we're the opposite. We're super empathetic, and we put everybody else above ourselves.
Of course,
and I feel
it's the maternal instinct,
Yes.
But sometimes you've got to you've got to be selfish in order to be selfless.
Totally. Oh, that's a bar. That's right there.
It's a good one. I've been saving that one for you.
I love. Period. I love that.
Period.
And I think there's another thing too in all of this. I keep losing my train of.
That's okay. It will come back.
It will come back. I'm actively trying to search for it now.
Yeah, that's the worst though.
Okay.
There we go.
Here's another one. We were talking about this earlier too. Is that I remember what I was going to say.
I knew it would come back.
It came back.
They always do.
Yes, I think this is something else. The difference between a girl and a woman is that a woman understands that she's not here to mother her man. She's not here to do the work for him or teach him this is how you're supposed to do something.
No.
A woman is able to show up in a dynamic and be like, are you there yet or not? And if you're not, fine, but you're just not for me. Just show me where you're at because I'm not going to hold your hand and teach you. That's not my job.
Big waste of time.
Big waste of time.
And a huge waste of time as well is this is something when a guy tells you he doesn't want a girlfriend.
He doesn't want a girlfriend.
You can be the most perfect girl, the best mother to his kids, the best future wife. He doesn't want a girlfriend. Do not waste your time. We all think we can change these men.
We think we're different.
You can't.
Yeah.
You just can't. It's just such a waste of time because there's 101 million trillion gazillion men that are ready and willing. You know what I mean?
And this is where also your what's the word? The key to being feminine in a relationship is really having high standards. You have to be able to filter out the men that can't give you what you want and won't give you what you want because they actually show you that at the very beginning. And it's if you can again start to evaluate using your intuition, is your body rejecting this man or accepting this man? Is there, is he telling you things? You have to be able to go with the reality of what he's saying. And when you have those high standards, it's a lot harder to say yes to the wrong guy because you know exactly what it is that you're looking for.
But I want to emphasize, because this is something that really rubs me up the wrong way. I feel like there's so much content out there about high standards and princess treatment.
High value woman.
It really, really pisses me off.
Why?
I just feel like you sound like such a knob half the time when you're if a guy doesn't do if he isn't picking up or sending up all these girls that are showing off their beautiful flowers, great, you got flowers. Every girl loves getting flowers.
Yeah.
But for all we know, this guy could have fucked a girl last night. But he sent flowers, so it's okay.
But he sent flowers.
And it really rubs me up the wrong way because girls are saying, he sent me flowers. Get you a guy that gets you 100 roses but neglects everything in between that. Why do I keep spitting? Sorry, I'm just getting so passionate.
This is important to you. It's okay.
Please cut out the spitting. But they neglect everything in between, the tenderness, the
emotional
availability, or even just willing to be emotionally somewhat there. The connection, a million trillion other things a man can show up for a woman besides the roses and the material things and the things that are getting showcased all the time and what you should deserve as a high value woman.
So let's change the definition. To you, what is a high value woman?
To me, what a high value woman is, she doesn't have to say what she is.
Period.
It's as simple as that. You don't have to say to a man, I'm classy, I'm worth 1,000,000 roses. I only want a man that's da 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 da. Your energy will speak for itself. Your energy will speak for itself. You don't need to sing it out loud like I am the prize, like I'm telling you. If I were to overhear a girl saying I'm the prize to her guy,
that happens a lot.
Girls, well, this is a narrative that's pushed. You're the prize. You're the prize. Girls will say I'm the prize. Like,
but
I'm
they're
a queen.
saying it, but not acting like it, and that's two different things.
You don't have to say it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. If you are, you don't have to say it.
Yeah.
You know, if that's how you feel, you don't have to say it to anyone. It's just in your nature. So I feel like I'm all for all women being high value women, but I hate the way it's being promoted because I feel like it's being promoted in the wrong way. It's being promoted in a really stuck up, bitter,
clickbaity
way that's honestly making women look and act like bitches. It's
Ooh,
not.
That's so true, actually.
It's not graceful. It's not feminine. It's not gentle. It's very aggressive.
It's actually masculine in a lot of ways.
The thing is there's so many men. There's so many different types of men that down the line, when they really love a girl, will be more open to the lavish things, like the flowers and all the crazy romantic gestures.
Yeah.
Some guys do it off the bat and it means nothing to them.
Yeah.
Because they want a pipe.
Yeah.
Some guys do not do that at all. And then when they really feel like a girl's the one, they kind of open up. Some guys are just naturally reserved and they're not into that and they show their love in other ways. There's so many different types of men and how men want to give and receive love. They're not all the same. So you can't be saying if a guy doesn't do X, Y, Z for you, he's not a good man. Or if he's not making this much money per month, he's not a good man. You know what I mean? Like there's so many other attributes to what really makes a man good. And I know guys, or like even guys that I've dated in the past that, you know, from the first date to the 10th date, very different guys show up completely different towards the 10th date. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Versus the first. So I just feel like it's just a narrative that's really irritating and it pisses me off and I don't like it.
I agree. And I think maybe a good place to wrap up this episode is by giving our audience, because I'm sure you guys have all probably heard about a lot of this content, right? Like high value woman, if he's not doing this, if, you know, all these rules and all that bullshit.
Highly irritating.
Yeah, it's irritating. But how can they actually show up in ways that reflect a high value woman? Maybe it's like specific scenarios or like examples of like what you can do that again reflects a high value woman instead of what's really a low value woman.
Well, I think it's a personal thing of, again, I said how I feel like what a high value woman is. You might feel that's very different. I guess it goes back to what we were saying a bit earlier of like, you know, who do you want to be? What's that woman? How does she hold herself? What are her core values? What's important to her? And how does she react? How does she handle confrontation? You know, what does she really want from a man? Map it out and really ask yourself who am I and what do I want for myself? And go from there. And that's like your own high value woman right there. You know, because value is placed in different ways.
They're
for
subjective,
different people,
totally
you know?
subjective. And that's also why I think if you ever see content that makes this stuff sound cookie cutter and like it's very simple and the same thing is going to apply in every situation, that should be a red flag to you.
It's just not.
It just doesn't work that way. So I think for the Limitless Challenge, I think for the Limitless Challenge of the week, I have an idea for this one.
Oh, period.
I really think it could be really amazing for you guys to go into ChatGPT because you know,
Chat.
I be using chat for literally everything. We love a good chat. I literally created a whole guide out of it. But what you should do is whenever you're maybe in a situation where you're like, how do I show up as the true high value woman version of myself? Go into ChatGPT, explain the exact situation that's going on and be like, how do I show up as a high value woman in this situation? And when it tells you whatever it responds with, make sure you're like, see how it feels for you when you're reading it. And if there's a value that you would want to tweak or anything like that, you can tell it. But use ChatGPT to really help you refine what are your values and how can you, shout out to ChatGPT, and how can you apply that in situations, or even if there's not really a specific situation, you can even just ask ChatGPT on the, like just broadly, like how do I show up? What is a high value woman and how can I show up as that and start tweaking it from there?
Can I add to that?
Yes, please.
Because I'm all for chat. You know, I love chat. I talk to chat all the time. Pull out the journal and start free writing too.
That's a really good one as well.
That's a really good one. Because as much as chat is great for the guide, it's all about your inner voice and what do you truly want. So sometimes the introspection is very hard, but it's worth it.
100%.
So coincide with chat
Both.
and journal.
And I
You're
think
good.
actually this is where human design has helped me really understand how to help people help themselves in this exact way. You're a generator and I'm a manifesting generator. And for our energy types, if you're listening to this and you know that that's your energy type, it's difficult because your system doesn't respond to open-ended questions.
Okay.
So when you say, what is a high value woman to me? Your system might not really, like I've had clients where they're like, they freeze and they're like, I don't really know.
I don't know.
They need suggestion. So because then their intuition will tell them if it's this or that and it'll kind of pull it out. So like Amara's saying, use the power of both. Like don't just take what ChatGPT is telling you because it's telling you that. You need to use your own discernment and allow yourself to understand, what am I being pulled to? What feels like truth to me and what's not? Because ChatGPT is suggestive at the end of the day. It should not be your truth. It should not be your fact. It's meant to be merely used as inspiration. And then merely used as inspiration, and then you go in your journal and that's where you write the truth. Write it out, Pookie. Okay, well, that was an amazing episode, honestly.
Thank you so much for having me, my queen.
Thank you for being here. Truly, you guys,
You
flew all
deserve
the way to
100
Miami.
roses.
Stop.
Princess treatment
Stop.
from me to you.
You're so sweet.
Period.
You guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We love
I've had
you
the
so
best
much.
time. I love you.
I love you.
I
And we
love
will
you.
see you guys. We love you so much and we'll see you in the next episode.
Period.
Period.